Before you start the installation of your new dormer playhouse, there are a few things you'll need to check first. Make sure that the installation area is clear for assembly. The building will need to be constructed onto a flat level base. We're building this playhouse onto our pressure treated timber porta base to help protect it from damp and insects. We would always recommend installing on a dry day with a minimum of 2 people. To erect this playhouse, you'll need a screwdriver, a drill, a hammer, a tape measure, a ladder and a Stanley knife or cutting tool. Start by removing the transportation blocks from each of the panels with a few taps from the hammer. It's best to fix the door within the door panel first to ensure that the hinges are level. First, place the door panel flat on the ground and place the door within the aperture. Make sure that there is a 12mm gap around all edges of the door. Line up the hinges at the top and bottom of the framing and fix in place using 30mm screws. Pre-drill all screw holes throughout this installation, as this will help to prevent the wood from splitting. We can now work on the ladder. Begin by pre-drilling through each recess on the uprights before slotting the steps into place and affixing with screws. Repeat this for the other side. Next, place the floor down onto your base, flush with the back edge. Place the joining blocks underneath the floor at an equal distance between the bearers. To secure, screw down through the floor into the joining blocks using 30mm screws. Place the veranda floor down onto your base, covering the joining blocks and flush with the main floor. Use the previous screws as a guide to secure it into the joining blocks. Start the main body of the installation with the rear panel and one of the side panels to create an L-shaped join. Fix together at the top, middle and bottom using 50mm screws. Attach the left window panel and the front door panel in the exact same method. Ensure that the door panels flush against the OSB floor and the framing of the side panels. Next, place the veranda front panel into position between the side panels and secure at the top, middle and bottom using 50mm screws on each side. Place the plain gable on top of the rear panel, ensuring that the cladding and framing are flush on either side. Fix down through the framing into the rear panel using 50mm screws. To make things a little easier later, we're installing the window cross onto the front gable before attaching it to the building. Score around the inside edge of the gable window frame to peel back the protective coating. Align the cross over the window and screw down to affix it in each corner. You can now affix the window gable on top of the door panel as before. This next section will work on the roof. Position the roof sheets on top of the building, making sure that they meet in the middle and the framing locks into the apex cutouts. Secure in place into the gable framing below using 30mm screws. With the panels and roof secured, you can now fix the building to the floor using 50mm screws. Make sure that the screws align with the floor joists. This next section will work on fixing the bunk floor. Start by slotting the small bunk floor on top of the framing supports on the rear and door panel. Position the large bunk floor on top of the framing support of the veranda panel. Once the floors are in place, secure down with 70mm screws. Position the rail block in line with the bunk floor and secure using 50mm screws. Secure the rail end with screws before placing the safety rail against it. Fix down to the bunk floor using 50mm screws. Fix the rail support to the end of the rail. Place the ladder in between the rail support and the plain panel. Fix the other side into position into the framing of the plain panel. First, attach the right hand rail to the rear panel framing. Position a handrail support at the bottom of the ladder and secure with 50mm screws. Attach the second handrail support halfway up the ladder. This next section will go through how to install the dormer window. As with the front gable, we're installing the window cross on the window first. Affix in the same method as before. Position the front window and side panel together to make the L-shaped join, and then fix in place with 50mm screws. Secure the second panel in the exact same method. Attach an L bracket to the flat end of the dormer ridge bar. Next, position the ridge bar in between the dormer window and roof panel. Ensure that each end is flush and secure with screws. Place the dormer window roof sheets onto the window panels. Secure in place into the ridge bar and window framing using 40mm screws. Secure the eaves frames against the sides of the dormer window. making sure that they butt up against the main roof boards. Attach the 2 fascia blocks at the apex of the dormer panels and repeat this, placing them in the centre of each panel for the front and back of the main building. You can now prepare the felt. There are 6 different size sections needed. Fold the felt over the sides and tack in position at equal intervals. Make sure that there is a 50mm overhang to allow for water runoff. Position the felt as shown and tack down in equal intervals to ensure that the roof is fully covered to protect it from adverse weather. Now that the felt is complete, attach the cover trims on the front and back corners of the building with 40mm screws. The next step will be to secure the fascias to the playhouse. Secure the long fascias at the front and back of the building with screws at the top, middle and bottom. Attach a finial over the central join with screws. Position the short fascias on the dormer window, ensuring that they meet in the middle at the apex and secure in place. Align the window framing against the dormer window sides and secure with screws down into the roof board. Centrally position a window cross into each window and secure with 20mm screws. On the inside of the door opening, secure the ply triangle doorstop to the bottom corner. For the door window, take the longer window cross and slot into place using a circular motion. Make sure that it's central across the window. You can now place the remaining beading into the grooves and secure in place with screws. Position the wooden door handle on the outside of the door and secure by twisting the screw into the door framing. Now that your new dormer playhouse is complete, you will need to treat the building with a high quality timber preservative to protect it throughout the year. Once you have treated the playhouse, score around the windows to remove the protective cover on the glazing and peel back carefully. For more installations, please check out the other videos on our channel